Local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The Moose.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out. Here we go. You wanna mess with us? That's what's funny on the ground.
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for the NXT edition. But we're not doing that today, because tomorrow is Double or Nothing. Well, I mean, I might do that today still. That'll drop later. But tomorrow is Double or Nothing, so we're going to talk All Elite Wrestling today. We're going to talk Double or Nothing, the big Las Vegas show. You know, StarCast is going on as we speak. Joining me, as you can expect, because he is the other big All Elite stan, covering Being the Elite on his Sunday show. All the rest for us here. Mr. Mysterious, how are you, brother?
I'm feeling fantastic. High risk, high reward. Let's get into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we also have another guest with us here, and she's kind of the target market for AEW at this point, even though she herself does not like Being the Elite anymore. Danders, how you doing?
I'm living large. Look, full disclosure, I used to love Being the Elite. I used to have notifications on, but like as soon as it started being like strictly a promo tool for their pay-per-views, I was like, nah, not about it.
Right. And then people will say that All Elite Wrestling don't have a product, but you're acknowledging yourself. You turned off as soon as it became literally a product, as opposed to just a YouTube series they did for fun.
Yeah, because I don't like watching promos.
I feel like you've come on at the best time, Dan, is because on the latest Being the Elite, they're actually debating whether to actually keep doing Being the Elite now that they're going to start All Elite Wrestling. So they might drop that entirely so you can actually enjoy All Elite Wrestling down the line.
Ooh.
Yeah, when AEW goes to TV, they're not sure yet, just because their time is going to be crazy. So once they go to weekly TV, they're not sure if they're going to be able to keep Being the Elite going.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Because they've started doing a BTE mailbox where they answer like Twitter questions and stuff, which is pretty cool. That's like a new addition to Being the Elite. But I thought that instead of like breaking down Being the Elite, there's been some new offerings from Being the Elite and all that sort of stuff since the last time you filled us in, Mr. Mysterious. But I figure you'll be doing that on All the Rest tomorrow anyway.
I will, but it depends how much we cover today.
Yeah, well, I figure we can look at the actual AEW card, like the Double or Nothing card, and we'll just do a quick breakdown of the card and what's going on, and we'll sort of discuss things from that angle. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. So we know that the show actually starts with a kickoff show, right? So it's what do they call it? They call it the buy-in.
The buy-in, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going ham with the gambling theme because we're in Vegas, and so the All Elite Wrestling buy-in, and it starts an hour before the show, and it's live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Should be good. They've released a couple episodes before on YouTube, so we've got a little morsels of what they're capable of.
Yeah, well, they've got matches up as well. Like the first official AEW match didn't even take place at Double or Nothing. The first official AEW match took place in China and was uploaded to YouTube.
Well, you know.
Yeah, have you seen that one yet?
I have. Dan, have you had a chance to look?
When he said that, I was like, I think he's talking to you.
Yeah, I was talking to Mr. Mysterious. Yeah, so SCU took on some of the OWE, flippy monk dudes, and they uploaded it to YouTube, and that's officially in the history of AEW. It's their first match, and then I guess their second match is actually the Hangman Page. So even before we get to the buy-in, they've already had two matches that you can watch already on YouTube. The Hangman Page versus Park match has already taken place, even though that had been built up for Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm. A lot of theories about that one.
Yeah, I figure since it's happening before it's already happened, we may as well talk about that first, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. So Hangman Page showed up randomly at WrestleGate Pro in the UK, where Park was scheduled to face Jody Fleisch, and I'm forgetting the name of the other opponent. But they both no-showed, like in kayfabe, I assume. I presume they were actually there.
They didn't show up.
They did, like, for shoot, they didn't show up?
I don't know if it was by design or not, whether it kind of worked out that way, but just, I'm not familiar with the WrestleGate story. All I know is just from watching that match, like, his original opponents weren't there.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's just the angle. I'm assuming they were there, they're professionals. They were there and they just got bumped from the card because they were like, oh, guys, sorry, Hangman Page had to fly in so we could run this angle. And they're like, okay, guess we're not wrestling tonight on this big WrestleGate show. Which, that'd suck, right? You're promoed up, you're ready to go. You've prepared for this big match that you got against Park. You got all these spot ideas. You get to the venue and they're like, by the way, guys, sorry about this. But we need to shoot an angle for All Elite Wrestling.
And they call Park the bastard. Jeez.
Yeah, right. AEW, killing the indies already. No. So yeah, Hangman Page shows up because his opponents aren't there. And he's like, there's no one in this company that can beat me. There's no one in this country that can beat me. And out comes Hangman Page. And they just decide to have their match then and there, which ends in a bit of a schmoz.
Bit of a DQ finish there. We had Park, he knocked over the referee, and as Hangman was going for his discus over the rope clothesline, the ref called for the DQ.
A buckshot lariat.
Buckshot lariat, thank you. I was trying to find the word for that one. So Hangman Page was the victor, but Park is still technically undefeated. Keep that undefeated streak going in WrestleGate, and he took offense to that and started attacking Hangman with a steel chair afterwards.
Yeah, and attacked the knee.
Yeah.
So then he gets on the mic and says, all I wanted to do in Vegas was hurt you and torture you. And look, I've done it. Job done. I don't need to go to Vegas. You can tell your elite buddies that I'm out, basically. So they've been building up this match for months at this point, right? From the very first All Elite Wrestling press conference, we had their first confrontation. It led to the Full Gear Challenge, which we can touch on as well. The Full Gear Challenge with Adam Page. And it led to all that cool stuff that they did on Being the Elite. And it all got paid off on a random UK indie show and not at the actual pay-per-view. Smart decision?
It made the best of the situation. I mean, to be fair, I've been looking forward to this Full Gear Challenge, the end result of it. I wasn't sure how they were going to pay it off, whether they're going to be at the actual event or how they did it on Being the Elite, saying no, you are ready. Cody saying you're a horse, man, you're a horse.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in that. Danders, as the skeptical fan here, as the elite skeptic, how do you feel about a big match that's been advertised for the show not being on the pay-per-view you're going to watch come Sunday?
It's got some serious Survivor Series 99 vibes for me, which is probably a bit of a niche reference. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Which is when you were going to get the triple threat of Triple H, The Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin for the first time ever. And WWE knew it wasn't going to happen. They didn't tell fans it wasn't going to happen. So at least AEW have told fans this isn't going to happen.
Right.
But I don't know I don't know enough about it to know if it's a work or a shoot or what.
Well, the stories that are coming out, there's two angles that are hitting the media through Meltzer and Keller and all the, the wrestling journos. There's two angles that are coming out from this. Basically people are saying it's the visa issues. So we know that he was unable to make it to WrestleMania weekend because he couldn't get a visa. And having worked in Department of Immigration, I understand this. He walked out he had a visa with WWE, right?
Yep.
And they were his sponsor. And he walked out on the company. And so they've cancelled his visa, obviously. And now he's applying as a sponsored athlete for a different company. And the Department of Immigration in America, if it's anything like ours, would be looking at his application and being like, you walked out on an employer before. They can just hire an American for this job. Screw you, buddy. Right? Because that's what our Department of Immigration would say. So I feel like the visa issues seems to me like the most likely angle here. That's probably what's happened. He keeps getting knocked back for the visas, and they're trying to work it out, and he just can't make the show, so they had to pull the trigger on some kind of an angle. But the other story coming out is that he has creative differences where he doesn't want to lose on television or anything, because he doesn't want to lose at all. He's not losing in anything. He's undefeated for the last 20 months because he's the Dragon Gate champion, and Dragon Gate is his priority, and he takes Dragon Gate seriously. Now, I feel like that's just a story that they're telling to make us hate Park the man, right? like blur the lines a little and say, oh, I've got creative differences. And they're even going so far as saying it wasn't Hangman Page that he was supposed to lose to. It was Kenny Omega further down the line. Right? And so he didn't want to do the job allegedly, but I think that's all an angle. I don't believe that. I think it's probably the visa issues is more likely to me.
It feels like that's the one that would make the most sense, because you can imagine with this being a company that's still like we don't know a whole lot about until they start on TV and everything else. Like you can imagine they've got a plan going months, like even till next year. Like they've got it all laid out. So to give that confidence in whoever they try and sign, and yeah, I feel like Park would have known at some point what was going on.
Yeah, well, to believe the other story, to believe the creative differences story, you have to believe that essentially they called him up in whenever it was. Like the first press conference was in January, right?
Yeah.
So they called him up in November or December, and they're like, "We want you to come wrestle for us." And he's like, "Yeah, cool. Who against? Well, we're gonna have you confront Hangman Page, or we're gonna do this full gear thing. You're gonna take on Hangman. Okay, sweet." And that's it. He doesn't ask who's going over. He doesn't ask what's the point, what's the angle. He doesn't care. He's just like, oh, cool, a booking. I'm going to come wrestle some guy. We'll work out who wins later. Like, you want me to believe that you're going to work that out later? No, of course. I feel like he had to know at some point that he's going to lose, and it's just the visa issues. So they've pulled the trigger on this angle, and they're feeding us this other story because it furthers his bastard character, right?
Absolutely. He is a deplorable man. He makes children cry. Think of it, he does it.
Yeah. Plus, you got to believe as well, the other thing you have to believe that story is that he would actually... I mean, I know loyalty is a thing, and I know he's a loyal dude, which kind of flies against the bastard thing, but you got to believe then as well that he would value the Dragon Gate company over the All Elite Wrestling company, which, I don't know, Danders, have you heard the words Dragon Gate before?
Fuck you. That's very condescending.
Well, I didn't mean it in a condescending way. I'm just saying, like, for the average fan, they'll be like, Dragon what? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, whereas All Elite Wrestling has at least some cachet to the regular fan, right? Am I wrong? I didn't mean it to sound condescending. Can
you explain to me what an arm bar is? Because I hear people talking about them. And is that where they go for drinks afterwards? Is that the name of the bar? Yes, I've heard of Dragon Gate. I haven't watched it. But I've heard of it. Like, get fucked.
I didn't. Okay, I feel like a fucking asshole. I didn't mean it like that. I was making a rhetorical point. I wasn't. No, I feel like a jerk. Okay. I'll wear that one. I'm sorry for the way that sounded, because it sounded awful.
However, I get what you meant, but like ribbing you is so much fun.
I know, yeah.
So I get what you mean in terms of I couldn't tell you any participants in Dragon Gate, whereas I can tell you at least some people in All Elite Wrestling. So yeah, I think that it would be a conflict of interest if he was prioritizing a lesser known company or organization.
Like, it wouldn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to my feeble brain anyway. But you know, maybe he operates on a different wavelength. But yeah, so that's the Hangman Page and Park situation. We're not getting the match, and AEW have said that it's going to make the show better somehow. I no idea how. But on the latest being the Elite, Hangman Page is saying he's not going to show up. He's not allowed to because of what Park did to his knee. He's injured now. He's not allowed to show up. So I honestly have no idea where they take this.
I mean...
Yeah, bold move, Cotton.
See if it works out for him.
Yeah, I'm just here for the pop culture references.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's a bold move, yeah.
There's only a handful of people in the indie scene who are as big as Park, and we're all hoping that they'll show up in All Elite Wrestling, like with all the rumors and innuendo. But I feel like Hangman Page will still show up in spite of himself, in spite of whatever Park did to him, and then they'll try and call out Park, or they'll try and call out someone. He's still itching for a fight, and then we'll bring out someone else, which we'll probably talk about later.
Yeah, well, the good guy Tama Tonga, he posted up on Twitter. He was like, "I'll come wrestle, guys. Like, I feel like Bullet Club and Elite still have some not so old business to take care of. So that could be a cool replacement." if New Japan are going to play ball, sending the good guy Tama Tonga over would be a pretty cool match. But before I guess we'll stick with Hangman Page for a second before we talk about the Casino Battle Royale and all that stuff. You want to talk about the Full Gear Challenge and how they actually paid this off? Because I think it was beautiful.
Yeah, so as the weeks and months have progressed, so it seemed like Park had been recording Hangman Page, trying to work out, trying to get into shape, and the Elite were trying to tell him bigger and skinnier, if that made any sense, which it didn't, trying to figure out what exactly they wanted. And for months we've seen him try and work out and everyone just giving him so much shit. And then eventually he came across, what was it, Michael's Secret Stuff, or I'm trying to remember the name of the
throwback to Space Jam.
Yeah. So he's been having a few whiffs of Michael's Secret Stuff, which I can't imagine how much bottles they gave him, but he's been chugging it down and he's been, getting all ready. And then all of a sudden he gets a video from Cody saying that, no, there was no secret stuff. You had it in you all along.
Aww. So wholesome.
Very wholesome. Yeah. And then he's just like trying to amp him up. Yeah.
It's great because they have, they've sort of, it's been like a mixed message because there's the whole AEW is for everyone, right? And they appear to have some very progressive attitudes. And then there were a few fans who were like, this Full Gear Challenge thing is a little bit body shamey. Yeah. There were other fans that were like, that jumped on it and were like, no, this is great. Like, this is motivation. We're going to work out with him and we're just going to get ourselves to be the best possible us that we can be come that weekend, right? And so people jumped on the challenge with him. But there was a sect of fans that were like, this is kind of body shamey. It's ridiculous. I mean, he's clearly a fit dude anyway. Like, and I know it's all an angle, but the way they've paid it off sort of counters all of that. Like, because he said, I was always full gear ready. That's what he said. I was always full gear ready and you are too, right? Like, love the body you're in. And I'm like, that's such a great fucking message that they've put out there through this whole angle. And now as well, he's auctioning off his full gear, right? Mm-hmm. He's auctioning off his full gear to benefit, and I want to get the name of the charity, right? I think it's the National Eating Disorders Association.
That's brilliant.
NEDA. And so he's auctioning it off and donating that to an organization they're the largest nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting individuals and families affected by eating disorders. And they serve as a catalyst for prevention, cure, and access to quality care. So, like, I don't know. I feel like if this has obviously been the plan from the beginning, and it's such a beautiful fucking well-crafted angle that they've done over the last couple of months with this Full Gear Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very wholesome.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that because, it's some of the work that they're doing in that realm, in making wrestling more inclusive and stuff. I think it's super important, and it's really good to see them really sort of living that. But let's get to the actual buy-in show.
Mm-hmm.
The Casino Battle Royale is the big feature of this show, but we got to think that's going to main event the pre-show. We also have the first matchup, Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. So it's going to be a nice flippy-do match. You know, in the vein of WCW of old, right? They'd put the cruiserweights out there first.
Yep.
Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara has that kind of vibe for me on the kickoff show.
Yeah, absolutely. Both high-flying guys. I feel like this is going to play into how they've been pitching Sammy Guevara, just like making him out to be this like arsehole guy, or just like, well, we'll have you on the first match on the pre-show, you dick. Just going on from there.
Well, I don't know how they're going about it because the Young Bucks seem to be slowly like sympathizing with Sammy G. Like as they're getting the videos in of all the people saying how they hate that Sammy G guy. Like he's trying really hard to make everyone like him.
Even his mum.
And it comes across as really...
Even his mum hates him.
Even his mum. The shirt's not even my size. Yeah. So... But no, they're making him, like, everyone hates him, and the Young Bucks are like, oh, this guy, we kind of like this guy. And I feel like that's going to be, I feel like the Young Bucks are actually going to be the ones to turn heel. Because at some point, some of the Elite have to turn heel, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't have these guys that are the four buddies at the top of the company running the show. Like, you can't have them sticking together forever. The Elite have to fall apart to have feuds built into the show. And I feel like the Bucks are going to have to turn heel more so than Cody. Everyone thinks it'll be Cody eventually. I don't think it'll be Cody. I think it'll be the Bucks.
I'm done with Cody being a heel, to be honest. Like, I feel like we had that whole thing. Was it last year or the year before?
It was last year,
the year before last. Yeah, we had a whole thing of like heel Cody, and that was like part of when because I know that Being the Elite took a couple of weeks break after the 100th episode. That was like one of the things where they had the board meeting when they came back in that episode, and it was like, can't I just be a nice guy now? Like, so
when they were planning the season,
yeah, he was like, can't I be a good guy? And everyone's like, no, sorry,
no, can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the NWA, like he's had that big emotional win, and now we're bringing in his brother, and yeah, at the moment, he seems the least likely to switch allegiances. So I think we're gonna hold off for a while before we get the whole Bullet Club is fine similar mentality.
Well, no, I don't even think it'll be that. I don't think they'll necessarily be the Elite as such in All Elite Wrestling. Maybe they will. I don't know how they're going to handle it. But I feel like the Young Bucks characters have been really playing up this money, aspect of the Young Bucks. Like, they're like, we make so much money. We're going to give our kids $500 Easter egg hunts, and we're going to give, like, we're going to double your salary, and we're going to send you home, and all the stuff that they're saying to Peter Avila. Like, they're really flaunting the money and sort of like the SCU thing, like, oh, these guys have changed. Yeah. I feel like the Young Bucks are going to go that route as well.
Yeah, they're like,
just be really cocky, But yeah, they're falling for Sammy Guevara. They're sort of kind of starting to like him. So I see that becoming a relationship even as well. But Sammy G, I feel like he has to work heel, right? He works heel in all the indies he works.
Yeah, I mean, from where I've seen him in like MLW and Lucha, he's just been a quiet face. He hasn't with that really in his storyline. So it would make sense, hopefully, that he shows a bit more personality.
Yeah, well, I'm curious to see where it goes, but I feel like it's going to a full Sammy G heel turn where it's disingenuous and he doesn't really want to be nice. He's just doing that to try to get everyone to like him, but he's actually a real prick, kind of like MJF. But then MJF already has that character in the Elite universe, so I don't know.
MJF's been changing. We'll probably mention that in a second.
Yeah, well, let's get into the Casino Battle Royale. Now, this is a really crazy way to do a Battle Royale. Instead of just having everyone in there and it's over the top, we're getting, 4 lots of 5 people?
Yes.
Based on the 4 suits of cards, right?
All the gambling imagery that you can cram in there.
Yeah. So we got the Diamond group, the Spades group, the Clubs group, and the Hearts group. And they're going to all come in. And we know some of the entrants we know Glacier is here. Ace Romero, Sonny Kiss, Brandon Cutler, Brian Pillman Jr., Sunny Days, MJF, Joey Janela, Dustin Thomas, Billy Gunn, Jimmy Havoc, Michael Nakazawa, Jungle Boy, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Luchasaurus, Sean Spears. So Sean Spears, of course, formerly Ty Dillinger. He had the reveal. He picked up the 10 of diamonds, and so he's entering the Casino Battle Royale. Most recently, David Arquette tried to get a card, but instead he ate a super kick party from the Young Bucks.
Solid.
Yeah, the mention of Ready to Rumble, that's what did it.
Yeah, Ready to Rumble. But there's 4 spots available, right? And of course, there's the 21st spot who pulls the Joker card, and that's the person who's going to come out last. So you get 4 lots of 5 entering the Battle Royale, and then the Joker comes in last. The Joker's got to be Dean Ambrose, right? John Moxley.
I would hope so. I mean, depending on, because there's a lot of up in the air. Like, I feel like the Joker could actually be Joey Ryan at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. As much as he's, not a beloved figure in a lot of places, I feel like that would, at some point, he's going to appear and they're going to reveal that, because he's on this last indie tour at the moment, and I feel like, he'll be real. He has an office job at some point somewhere in All Elite Wrestling, and he'll be the Joker.
Yeah. If he's going to show up in All Elite Wrestling, I don't know if he shows up at Double or Nothing. it's hard. It's difficult. Like, you got to save some things for the other shows, you know?
Yeah.
And they're doing this whole story with where's the blonde girl? Where's the blonde girl? Maybe we don't see him on an actual All Elite Wrestling show until Fight for the Fallen or All In 2, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah. But he's another potential candidate. But when you think there's 4 spots, the names that people throw around, obviously, are Jon Moxley, CM Punk is one that people throw out a lot. But you got to think that the Joker has to be someone big. Is there anyone else big on the indie scene other than Joey Ryan that we've mentioned, CM Punk, Jon Moxley? Is there anyone else who could fill that role?
I mean, unless they play ball with Ring of Honor and New Japan and they allow some of their roster to come along, like they don't really have much options available to them.
Yeah. Hangman Page, I guess, could insert himself. But he said that he's not showing up. The only other thing I can think of is there anyone on the shelf with WWE who might be willing to go through the legal battles to jump ship?
Lio Rush. I mean, he's tried everything else we don't even know if he's actually been able to quit WWE yet, but...
Oh my god, what if it's fucking Enzo Amore?
Oh no.
Oh god,
no.
Well, as a Joker, not a bad choice, to be honest with you.
Oh god. I feel dirty now.
Oh, no.
I like to think AEW have their fingers on the pulse, and if it was to be Enzo Amore, he would just get tossed out immediately. Like, because the other thing as well here is on the line, we have a shot at the inaugural AEW championship. So the winner of this battle royale will go on at some point in the future to face the winner of Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Now, as I go through the list, can we see Glacier fighting for the AEW title? No. Can we see Ace Romero fighting for the title? No. Sonny Kiss, Brandon Cutler, Brian Pillman Jr., no. None of these names that are in here, even your bigger names like Joey Janela or Sean Spears, I don't feel like they're Kenny Omega AEW title match ready.
I have a theory, like, just of all the names that we do have announced, if it's going to be one of them, I feel like it would be Jimmy Havoc. Like, he's always a go-to contender for some kind of championship. He never wins it, but he's always yeah.
But in your first AEW championship match, Jimmy Havoc?
I mean, like, it depends how who's going to win out of Kenny and Jericho, which there's a couple ways you can spin it. Like, my feeling is if Jericho wins, I'll probably get to this later, but you can have, like, he's going for the whole Painmaker gimmick as well, like facing off against Okada. I feel like going up against like a hardcore guy like Jimmy Havoc, that would kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It would kind of verify him, or being that personality. Well,
I don't know if Jericho wins in the main event. We'll get to that when we get to the main event. But for this, I'm going to predict that it's Jon Moxley. He's the Joker, and he's going to win. Or, way off the wall, way out of left field prediction, Bray Wyatt jumps ship mid-contract. He's willing to go through all the legal bullshit to be the Joker. Because look at that new mask, right? It's, just saying.
Yowie wowie.
Yowie wowie.
He just had a baby. I don't think he's like...
I know.
Risk like a $6 million lawsuit or whatever. Like, in American legal fees are insane.
Yeah.
I don't.
It would be ridiculous. No, but Tony Khan would pay the legal fees, surely.
Depends how much it gets drawn out and just how much they're willing to invest.
But look, I am happy that you believe that might happen. I think that shows a unique spirit within you, Gregory.
It's never going to happen. I just think it would be amazing.
You're a dreamer. You're a dreamer, Greg.
Yeah,
I am.
But you're not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, can we move on?
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, Outbreak Nutrition. Outbreak Nutrition are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at Outbreak Nutrition. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Well, who do you have for the Battle Royal?
I have. Let's have a look at the. Oh, I've gone to someone's page because I was trying to figure out who all these people are. Did this Angelico guy? Did he come to Australia at some point? Was he?
Yeah, Angelico was part of BCW's Lucha Down Underground.
Oh, yeah, that's where I saw him.
Yeah.
While Danders is looking for that, so I'll let you look, Danders. But so yeah, I'm going for Jimmy Havoc. But of all the names here, I feel like it would be a surprise entrant. I mean, they could do an angle with Jungle Boy, like with building him up with his father passing away, like trying to seem like, yeah, he's the golden child. You can get Sean Spears in there, but no, like at the moment, I'm going for Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, if we're sticking to the names that are there, I'd go Joey Janela more than anyone.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm going out on a limb and saying it's the Joker. Whoever the Joker is, they'll win this first one, and I think it'll probably be Moxley or Hangman Page is a believable one as well. But then we get into the actual show, and we don't know what order these matches are going to go in, so I'm just going to go based on the card that I'm looking at here on ProWrestling.net. Jack Evans and Angelico taking on Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, the best friends go up against Angelico and Jack Evans. This should be an interesting one, yeah.
I think this would be a good one to open the show, to be honest with you, or it would be a good one to actually sandwich up between the two mains, between Cody Dustin and Omega Jericho, because all four of these guys can work comedy and can like cool down a crowd and keep things going in that way as well, or all four of these guys can go balls to the wall, hardcore lucha action to open a show. So I feel like either of those spots would be great for this match, and you got to think that Jack Evans and Angelico will take the win here, to sort of build those new stars, because Beretta and Taylor have the name already.
Yeah, no, I think as well, just because watching BT the past few weeks, they've been alluding that they have a darker character to them, and I feel like when they, if they're gonna win at some point, they're gonna bring out the smoking, the guys who threaten families, and at some point the comedy is gonna slowly get a bit more serious.
Yeah, for sure. It says me. I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
You know the best friends.
No.
They hug.
Chuck Taylor's a shoes to me.
Wait, you don't know Chucky T?
No, a Chuck Taylor is a Converse high top.
Yeah, no, I know that. And a Beretta is a gun, and he should be in Bullet Club, but that's for another discussion. Yeah, Jack Evans and Angelico, they're Lucha Underground guys, but yeah, I guess for me, I feel like they need the win here more than the best friends do. Then we get into the match where no one really knows these people, and I think this would be a really good opener for the show as well. Similar to I always use this comparison, similar to how the WCW used the cruiserweights and introduced that whole style to the Americas. Joshi wrestling, Japanese women's wrestling, flies under the radar a lot. There is a wealth of talent in Japan. That top tier talent. That we have a 6-woman tag here featuring just the Joshi workers that they're bringing over. We got Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura taking on Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Ryo Mizunami. So it's going to be. This is a match where a lot of the competitors no one knows really, and even some of the competitors I watch Joshi and some of the competitors in here. I'm not too familiar with Ryo Mizunami. Everyone else in here I know. I got to pick Hikaru Shida's team on this one because she's the only one that I know of that has signed a long-term All Elite Wrestling contract.
See, I'm actually going the other way just because, again, like for a fan who has no idea about Joshi wrestling and for someone going into this without an understanding of who these women are, I feel like you go for the team with Aja Kong just because she's an absolute unit. She is legendary over in Japan, and I feel like to get her over as this big dominant women's wrestler, maybe like with the help of her team as well, but I feel like through just her sheer strength she can actually just like bulldoze through the other team. I feel like that would be a good way to go about it. And just like for the people like Danders who might not know who these women are, just like, oh, you're gonna know the name Aja Kong.
Sure.
Well, Aja Kong does have some WWF and WCW lineage.
Yeah, but like that's from quite a while ago, to be fair.
A long time ago, yeah. I just hope they come out to Yuka Sakazaki's theme song because it's a banger. So, and if they don't, I'll be very disappointed. Then we get into we're sort of moving up the card now. We've got SCU, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky taking on the Strong Hearts, Shima, T-Hawk, and Lindemann. Again, I feel like this is going to be the opportunity to show the other side of the world some faith here, and I think someone like a Christopher Daniels, I feel like Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky are more the guys that they're going to push here, and Daniels is taking more of an office role. He's getting up there in years, so I feel like Daniels might actually end up taking the pinfall here.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. Well, obviously showcasing the best of OWE and AAA, and one way to do that is to have these guys face off against a already well-established team like SCU, and yeah, I think it's going to be a balls to the wall match. I feel like SCU are really going to bring out the best. Like Christopher Daniels can bring out the best match out of anybody. Like you look at the match with Stephen Amell at All In, like as an example. Yeah, I'm going for the Strong Hearts here.
I do know SCU. I feel like I'm being no help, guys. Sorry.
No, it's good.
I like SCU, so I'm going for them.
Yeah. Well, see, but this is the thing. The reason that we wanted you on here as well, Danders, with this one is because you are the target market for All Elite Wrestling. You're a fan who is disillusioned with WWE, which people know if they listen to our Money in the Bank podcast. You've quit WWE, right?
Yep, correct.
So at this point, you're just a wrestling fan with no major home. Your home is obviously local.
Yes, I am adrift to sea at the moment. And I think one of the things that's hard being sort of like not too hardcore within any sort of franchise is that it can be quite alienating, because it's like we as wrestling fans are not always the most welcoming of people, especially once you start to go into the more indie circles. It can be like, oh, you don't know this person, especially, and I hate to pull the girl card, but especially being a girl, it's very much, it can be hard to sort of break into new stuff. And like, I tried to get into New Japan last year, especially like when they came out and toured and stuff, but I found it just knowing what was going on very difficult. Like people would be like, did you watch this show? And I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to know it's on? Why do they have shows at such random times? Why is there shows in the middle of the week? What? Anyway, so yeah, look, I am currently sourcing people who will let me come to their house and watch it. So that, yeah. But yeah. End
Yeah,
round.
well, so it'll be interesting. No, it'll be interesting to hear the after show podcast compared to now, and who has impressed you. Whether Jack Evans and Angelico make you a huge fan, or you know what I mean. Like, it's going to be really interesting to hear this journey from the perspective of that fan looking for a home. Where that's literally when you watch Road to Double or Nothing. What was his name? Jack Whitehall, the comedian from the UK, had an interview with Tony Khan, and he said that's the people they're after, the lapsed fan, the people who are disillusioned with WWE. And there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them out there in the wild, and that's who they're going after. So it's going to be really interesting to hear your journey with the company as the shows progress.
Yeah, they already get a big thumbs up for the fact that they're having it on a Saturday as opposed to a Sunday, and acknowledging, hey, you know what? We are the least ahead in time in the world. Maybe we shouldn't have it when like a large portion of our fan base outside of America is at fucking work. So that's
very
already
valid.
a big thumbs up for me. Yeah, a Saturday night in the US show for a Sunday show in the more eastern parts of the world.
Yeah,
killing it.
Dude, I'm stoked. It's like a Sunday morning, like cook up a big breakfast and watch some wrestling.
For sure.
It's amazing. Yeah, looking forward to it. Then we move on. We've got the women's match next. Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray in a three-way match. I say the women's match. We're already looking at it's the second women's match on the card that we've looked at. But yeah, Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, Kylie Ray. Really interesting one here. These women have all signed proper deals with All Elite Wrestling. Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, she is the only woman to be on the show other than Brandy, who was also on All In. And so I feel like I'm going to give the nod to Britt Baker here. Yeah,
I've had a look at this, and I feel like Nyla is going to focus more on Kylie. Just that they've got that whole dynamic of like Kylie, like the happy chipper, and Nyla just trying to crush her and beat her down. And I feel like Britt Baker is going to take advantage of this at some point. I mean, Brandy has given all the women in secret her approval to make this all a bit of a mess. So, yeah.
Brandy's basically playing them against each other and being like, "You're all my best friend."
Never trust Brandy when she's at her house. Like that's when they're at their most like insane. Like that's what I feel.
Yeah, I do wonder what Brandy's playing at.
She's got she's got Ali like down the line with Fight for the Fallen. Like, yeah, it's very curious. Like again, like one of those things where eventually, like, I don't see Cody turning heel down the line, but maybe Brandy. That would be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Brandy's an interesting character, man. I just think she's a fucking queen too. Like I look forward to seeing her every time she pops up on screen. So I think it's going to be good. And that's the thing too, is we're probably going to get a decent amount of angles, like post-match angles, different like face downs and attacks and stuff, because this isn't like All In. This isn't just a wrestling show now. This is this has to set up storylines moving forward into the future.
We have to get everyone invested.
Yeah, we have to be leading towards, getting people to tune in to watch a weekly TV product. So very curious to see how the stories play out here. But for me, I'm going with Britt Baker.
Do we get TNT here, like on Foxtel?
No, unfortunately.
We don't. Oh.
And there's no deal announced as of yet for Australia. So
how rude.
You got to imagine we'll be the next market they look at, because they've got the UK already. Well, they haven't announced the UK, but in his interview with Jack Whitehall, Tony Khan said, between ITV in the UK and TNT in America, we have the biggest distribution of any wrestling company in the world. So you got to assume that means that the weekly TV show is coming to ITV as well. He's not just talking about the pay-per-view. You got to think Australia would be their next focus area, though.
It'll be interesting to see if they actually get to us before WWE, because like how they've said they want to at some point make an NXT Performance Center here. But if AEW actually get TV rights here first, that's really going to amp up some more competition, and maybe it could, highlight some more Aussie stars.
Some kind of partner promotion as well, potentially. Yeah. Yeah, well, they already kind of have a partner promotion in World Series Wrestling, right? World Series Wrestling bring out a lot of their guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So, like, Pentagon and Ray Phoenix are coming out, and they've got a match on this show for the AAA tag team titles against the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Solid.
Yeah, so now we're getting into the top of the card. These are the people that, the more casual fans that aren't watching every single thing are going to know. Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers for the AAA tag team titles. I actually think the Young Bucks retain here and keep the titles.
Yeah, I'm trying to toss up who of the Elite are going to lose because we can't have every single member win. And as much as I think absolutely the Lucha Brothers are going to defeat them for the titles at some point, I don't think it will be this show because the Young Bucks over in Mexico with AAA, they are despised. And the more they play that off, the more that they will, the journey for the Lucha Brothers to actually reclaim that title, those tag titles. So they could cut it short and have them win now or later on down the line. But I don't see it where the Young Bucks don't lose to the Lucha Brothers at some point. So tentatively, I'm going to say they're going to win at the moment.
Yeah, you got to think the Lucha Brothers win the titles back in their home promotion in their hometown for the biggest pop, right?
And it can be with a little bit of because they've been throughout the BT they've been saying that they've got this secret move that they're going to do on them. So
Yes.
we'll see what that amounts to. So they got to make that seem legitimate.
Yeah. I hadn't even taken this from the angle of someone in the Elite has to lose because I've got all the Elite guys winning in my predictions.
Yeah, we'll see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it would be LOL Elite wins.
Yeah, you're thinking the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I feel like that's a long-term story that you can play on as well because they talk about wins and losses are going to matter and we're going to use statistics. Let's get into that actually. People are sort of I feel like people are misunderstanding what they say when they're going to use statistics. Like, statistics don't get used in wrestling enough. And everyone's like, you can't have a win-loss record on wrestling. That'll look ridiculous because a lot of the time the heels lose and get their heat. But think of The Miz, right? Imagine putting a win-loss record on The Miz's nameplate as he comes out. It would be 3,000 losses to 200 victories almost,
Yeah, just applying it to Kurt Hawkins, that would be an even bigger poor guy.
So, I don't think they're going to use win-loss records so much as, when you talk about sports statistics, when you talk about NFL, they talk about, when this offensive linesman is on the line, matched up against this kind of defense, he has a 50% chance of getting his guy through every time, or an 80% chance.
Greg trying to talk sports.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Well, we're all not the biggest sports guys. I mean, Danders your hooky, but yeah.
I watch NFL, no, but they're talking about conversion rates and all this sort of stuff. I feel like that's the kind of thing they'll talk about. When Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads, he wins the match on that pinfall 90% of the time. I feel like those are the kinds of things we'll get from the announcers. And those are the kinds of statistics they're talking about keeping. I don't think they're going to have a win-loss record. I think that would look stupid in wrestling.
It's too much like a point system.
Yeah.
Very underworld.
Yeah, a lot of shows have tried to do point systems like Impact and WWE at some point. I'm trying to remember that. I feel like they tried to do that to figure out contenders, but they dropped it as fast as they started it. It would be good you can kind of see if you're going to have some kind of sheet to show all your stars, to see, who's on the rise. And I feel like that would be more of a focus as well. These guys are slowly picking up victories and they're slowly making their mark and see if they get to that next level. But I am excited for this.
Last five victories or last 5 matches or something, what their win-loss
Exactly. Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
Win-loss in a short term works because he's been on a losing streak or whatever. Yeah. Works on a
if you look at it as a period, the last 3 months or something like that, then maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you would not keep a permanent win-loss record. But you could take something else from UFC, how they have ranked fighters, right? You can have, and boxing as well. They'll have in the division, in the middleweight division, and you've got the top ranked fighter, the second ranked, the third ranked, the fourth ranked, and then that way, when you have a match that looks like a throwaway match, we've got the 9th ranked guy in the elite division, let's call it. We've got the 9th ranked guy taking on the 3rd ranked guy. It's almost a foregone conclusion. Well, that 3rd ranked guy is going to win. And if he doesn't, if the guy who's ranked 9th, say it's MJF versus Joey Janela, right? And MJF gets the upset victory, he shoots up the rankings to number 5. If not number 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so you could do stuff like that.
And you,
But I don't think win-loss records is the way to go. Just putting that out there for the people that are like, it's going to look stupid. Yes, it will look stupid. There's no way they're doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
But moving on, Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. Will Cody successfully kill the Attitude Era?
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's no, like, as much as it's great that this match is happening and it's going to be this great brother versus brother, generation versus generation feud. Yeah, you're starting this brand new company. You're trying to show that you're this big alternative. There is no way that Cody's not walking away with a victory.
So you think they send a very clear message? No, the Attitude Era is dead. That's not the company we're going to be in. Dustin's here for this one match, and then he goes and becomes a coach, and that's it. Attitude Era is dead.
Yeah, like I'm just remembering the two episodes of Road to Double or Nothing, like, and I can see this moment kind of like the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair moment at WrestleMania, just like where he's saying like this wounded animal that wants to die. Like I can see this, I can see them having that kind of emotional spot in a match where he's just like Dustin saying like, come on, like end this now. And yeah, I can see so many ways they can go about this, and to not only give Dustin a great indie match that he hasn't gotten in WWE for a long time, but then yeah, legitimizes Cody, and like they'll probably hug afterwards. Just yeah, I can see it all in my head.
So you think we get a variation of the "I'm sorry, I love you" spot?
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking.
Big call. This is, to me, this is a little bit cringy because it seems like the whole thing about killing the Attitude Era is just like, just let it go, Cody. Like, just let it go. You left
Right.
WWE as a floundering mid-carder and have become one of the biggest names on the indies. Let it go, man. Like,
So could that be the point? Could his need for a war, could his need for definitively ending someone else, could that be his downfall? Maybe he doesn't win here.
no, lol, Cody wins. Elite.
Elite win. Okay. Well, I think that if they're going to do the "I'm sorry, I love you" sort of spot, right? I've been saying this for months now since I saw the movie. I want someone to do a "I love you 3000" spot.
No.
Can Cody, I know you're listening. Do I love you 3000? Someone has to do it. Anyway, then we get the main event. And this one is for the number 1 contendership. The person who wins this match will go on to face the winner of the Casino Battle Royale for the first ever AEW championship. Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Alpha Omega 2.
Mm-hmm.
Who you guys got?
I'll let you go, Danders.
Lol, elite wins.
Elite wins, lol. So you're going Kenny Omega as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority here, so I actually feel like Chris Jericho, he's going to tie up the victory, like one all, so that he has a strong case going forward for Dominion against Okada. He's got the new finishing move, the spinning elbow. I can see it. Like it may not be clean, but I can see him getting a cheap victory over Kenny.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't hit the elbow in this match. I feel like he tries to, but Kenny avoids it. Kenny has it scouted somehow. Mm-hmm. And I still think Kenny wins here because Elite wins, lol. Now, you want Jericho to stay strong, right? Because you're going to have casual fans tuning in for the first time. You're going to have people tuning in for Jericho. He's right about that, by the way. They should thank him. There are going to be people tuning in like, oh, Jericho's in this new company. What's this about? I think having him lose and not be in the title picture straight away may be a bad decision. But at the same time, I feel like that's the way to go because you can have him blur the lines already. He's already upset with Cody, right? We think that Chris Jericho is going to go on to have a story with Cody anyway. So if he's already pissed off at his boss, blur the lines a little and be like, yeah, you guys booked yourselves all to win anyway. I never stood a chance in this dog shit company, right? Mm. And have him go off in that way. And then you get a Jericho versus Cody match. But Kenny Omega moves on to the title. The other reason I say it is because I have Moxley winning the Casino Battle Royale, and I think it's a real bad look for their first title match to be Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, like it's just because of the New Japan thing is just kind of fresh in my mind. I mean, if he does lose, which like, because obviously I would want Omega to win this match, and like I'm just thinking of a way like to make it seem like Jericho will realistically win against Okada and take the heavyweight title. I'm just it's a tough one for me. Well,
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Is Jericho has a match with Okada coming up at Dominion, and if he's not winning that title, right? If Jericho is not winning the IWGP title, then you don't want him beating your other top guy on pay-per-view a couple weeks beforehand, right? Like, Chris Jericho is the best there is over here in All Elite Wrestling. He beat Kenny Omega in the first ever AEW main event, and then he lost to Okada. That puts New Japan clearly as better than All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, no, I can see that now, yeah.
Because wins and losses matter, and if you don't know whether Jericho is going to win that title or not, or presumably they know he is or he isn't. I feel like if Chris Jericho wins this match, he is definitely winning the IWGP title.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to put Jericho over and then send him off to lose against Okada. That's not going to happen. That's bad business.
Yeah, so it just depends, again, like, if Moxley is the Joker, or if there's a lot of variables at play here. So,
or if it's CM Punk. Does CM Punk show up on this show?
No.
If he does, I don't think it's in a wrestling capacity.
I think CM Punk is legitimately done with wrestling.
He's been doing too many, and I know he likes to fuck with people, but there's too many little teasers to say that he might not be.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants you to believe. You're falling for it.
Why? Why? What would the point of that be? Just because he's a worker and he likes to work people? That's it?
Yeah. And think of how upset people like you get every time he doesn't turn up.
I don't get upset when he doesn't turn up, though.
Not even.
I'm just like, oh. No, not really. I've never come out of a show and gone, damn, I really hoped CM Punk would show up. Like it's always in the back of the mind, like, how cool would it be? But it's never like, if this show hinges on CM Punk showing up, that's never happened, ever.
If it doesn't happen now, like, it needs to die down, because it's been 5 years. Yeah, it's been a long ass time. I don't even know if he'd be able to do it anymore. Yeah, so like I said, I doubt it would be in a wrestling capacity. I feel like it would be, I don't know, just an appearance, or maybe a special guest spot, something like that, and they can build him up if he was to ever do it to get an eventual match. But I don't know. I don't see it happening in a wrestling role.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to switch my tactic with CM Punk. From now on, I'm not going to be like, man, how cool would it be if CM Punk came back and showed up? No. From now on, my tactic moving forward, and I feel like everyone should adopt this in the internet wrestling community, is we say that there's no way CM Punk's going to show up at this point. He's been gone for too long. There's no way he could keep up with today's guys.
Kind of incite him.
That's the energy we need to be putting out into the universe. CM Punk couldn't hang with Kenny Omega. CM Punk couldn't hang with Joey Janela.
Oh, dear.
Let's put that out there in the universe. I feel like that's the best move now at this point.
Just pull out all the stops. Just try it. It's like, you know what?
But that does it. That's the entire All Elite Wrestling card. Overall, I'm very excited for this. I think that people are going to get introduced to a couple of new styles, like the Joshi stuff, the OWE stuff. I feel like is very exciting. And yeah, the show overall, I'm stoked on it. They've got to start building some angles outside of being the Elite, like actually in a ring. And I'm very, very keen to see where it goes moving forward.
And hopefully they can get some lapsed fans and turn them into believers. So we'll have to get Danders on again and just, we'll see if they've won you over yet or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
when I look at...
I've got one invitation to a party, and it is in LA. So we will keep our fingers crossed that there is alternate party invitations.
All right. Where can people find you, Danders, if they want to invite you?
You can
to
find
their
me fully naked
party?
on Patreon at patreon.com/Rachel Danderfield. On Twitter at Danderfield, on Instagram at Rachel Danderfield. And please don't add me on Facebook because we're not friends.
Can you change your social medias to just Naked Wrestling Fan?
Naked
that
naked female wrestling fan.
No, I don't think that needs to be said. I feel like maybe it does. But I feel like the Naked Wrestling Fan, like that's not a gimmick anyone's got yet. So go for it, man.
True.
Yeah.
But then like people might think it's like the Naked Chef. Was Jamie Oliver the Naked Chef? I was very disappointed when he wasn't actually naked. But then it's like it's Jamie Oliver, so maybe it's not that
But then you're subverting expectations because they're gonna go like, oh, the Naked Wrestling Fan, what's this I'm about to click? Oh, she's actually naked. Oh my god.
Solid.
And Mr. Mysterious, where can people find you?
You can find me fully clothed, but by all means leave it up to your imagination at Mr. Mysterious with a 1 and 7 I on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Hit me up and let me know what you think about All In and Double or Nothing.
You can find me in various states of both dress and undress at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. We are also on Patreon. Not as successfully as Danders, but we're there to get around it if you like what we do. And thank you so much for listening.
Bye, guys.